up, guys? I'm Matt Reisinger.
And I'm Stephanie Dailey.
Stephanie and I are in San Antonio for the International Roofing Expo. How about we go see what's new and interesting?
Let's do it.
All right, guys, let's get going. IRE 2025, show floor is about to open. They got me working here at the catch-all booth, trying to get this thing all cleaned up and looking good.
All right, Matt, I got some real work to do.
Stephanie, what the heck is that?
This is the catch-all.
They call it the load runner from catch-all. This is a wheelbarrow system that actually holds up to,
I think, over 200 pounds.
yeah, like 250 pounds. So when you're on it's a roofing expo, right? So we're thinking roofers. We just got all the shingles off the roof before we're about to put the new roof on. The wheelbarrow gets loaded. In the past, we're hauling those things up and over. Now you just drop this thing in, put it in the dump trailer. That is really cool.
Super easy controller.
Okay, so remote control right here.
Yep.
The other thing is this is lightweight. You can move it around the trailer. So we're not just gonna load the back of the trailer. We're gonna pick this up, move it around the sides. Now, do we need electricity? We gotta run a generator? What are we doing here?
Check this out. We've got batteries laying all over the job site.
Check that out. A couple of batteries like we use all the time, and that's all it takes to operate this,
Yeah.
huh?
I was shocked. This is really cool.
That's pretty cool. So this is called the Load Runner from our friends at the Catch-all. Still almost ready for production. You can learn more at thecatchall.com. Very, very cool. We'll put a link in the description, the Load Runner. This is a really big deal. I'm definitely ordering one of these for my crew.
Me too.
Let's see what else we can find at International Roofing Expo 2025.
All right, we're at the Vario Bend USA booth. Matt, check out these cool
Oh
profiles.
my gosh, Stephanie, this is crazy.
Right?
So this is not like any brake I've ever seen before, Stephanie.
No.
You know, where I get all my metal bent, they have a 20-foot handbrake. This is the $500,000, you know, CAD-driven, ridiculously cool version of that.
This is wild. I mean, we just watched it bend this half-round piece.
Yeah, and not only a half round, but then into all these other bends as well. And Nathan, the operator, just plugs in the program, lets the machine do everything.
Yeah.
This is pretty fabulous.
This is really cool. And I think it ran through that one piece, that one profile in about 90 seconds.
Yeah, and look how many bends it had too, including this curve that it did. Now this will do 20 gauge to maybe 26 gauge. This is not for a typical roofer to buy. This is really for a supply house. But man, for $500,000, this can do some really cool profiles. And it was frankly just really fun to watch.
It was really cool to watch.
There's some cool stuff here at IRE 2025.
All right, guys, we're over here at the Bilka booth. Matt, check this out.
I gotta tell you, we talked to the rep for a minute. This is pretty interesting. This is a metal roofing company based in Romania, right?
Yep.
And they have no distribution in the US yet. They're actually here to find distributors. So you can't buy this yet, but if you're a distributor watching this, if you sell roofing products, you should talk to these guys. Super impressive. What do you think about these, first off, the metal roofs?
Yeah. I think this is a really cool texture, a really cool finish,
It is.
this is kind of what stopped me in my tracks.
Isn't this awesome? All these downspouts and the half-round gutters, all these cool colors.
Yeah, different finishes, different textures. This was kind of like the show-stopping piece.
And a lot of matte finishes too.
A lot of matte finishes.
Fabulous.
Yeah, this was really cool.
I want Army green in my house. That'd be pretty cool.
Great.
The other showstopper though, frankly, is on the other side. Let's walk through. I'll meet you over there. All right, Stephanie, this feels like a European display right here. This is how they do roofs in Europe a lot, which is really not too dissimilar from a tile roof in America where we're looking for airflow. But I actually wasn't sure if this was not metal, but maybe fiberglass.
That's what it felt like to me initially.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat looking. It's really subtle, but you're looking at like a micro rib and like a 2 rib. And a very, like, not quite matte, but not
quite shiny.
Not quite shiny.
30-year warranty on this finish.
Yeah, fascinating. So then we come over here, though, and this one has a slightly lower warranty, like a 15-year warranty.
Yep.
And I would call this, I mean, I guess they call it matte finish. That's a very matte black roof, which is super cool looking. Metal, interesting gauge. They have a 22 and a 25 gauge on that. So
again, lots of different colors, which is kind of unique.
yeah, and they're making it in Poland. So they could cut, he was saying, you know, for a distributor in America, it takes like 60 days to get. They could custom size for your big project.
Yeah.
They can also just sell you these in long panels that you can fabricate on site. Here's the thing though, they told us a price. I don't want to mention it, but I could tell you that we were shocked that it was darned reasonable.
Yeah.
Right? And I put a lot of metal down. I always advocate for metal, but this price was fabulous.
It really was.
What are these, Stephanie?
We initially kind of thought they might be soffit material. Turns out it's fencing. They also make fence material.
Right. The guy was like, "This is guard material." I was like, "What do you mean guard material?" Oh, you know, around your house, the perimeter. Oh, fencing. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, it's like a picket made from a metal roof panel.
Kind of
unique. Cool. I know. I'd almost think you could use this for soffit though, or maybe even a cool rain screen detail in a house.
Very
I don't know.
true.
Fascinating product. Bilka's the manufacturer. We'll put a link right here to, hopefully the guy doesn't get too blown up. But like I said, if you're a manufacturer, contact them. Maybe next year we'll see these distributed throughout the US. But fabulously interesting. We're big advocates of metal, and this was an interesting European metal.
Very cool.
International Roofing Expo 2025.
All right, we just stopped over here at the S5 booth, and I have Rob here with me. Rob, we use these products all the time. Walk me through what you have here.
Well, on this particular display, we're exhibiting a lot of things.
Yep.
So first we have our color guard system, and this is actually color guard 2.0. So it's the next generation of color guard. Color guard 1.0 is installed 15,000 linear miles worth. And we have just now come out with the next version, which is an improved version of the first version.
And what color guard is we can actually put any color metal in the front of this so that it matches our roof or whatever style we're going for.
The whole idea is, although you can powder coat metal or anodize metal, the powder coating and the anodization fade at a different rate than the Kynar coated roof itself.
Yes.
The PVDF coating on the roof.
Yep.
So this way, you're actually using a piece of the same roof material to match the roof, so it matches forever.
They age at the same pace.
Exactly.
So this double bar, I use snow fence or snow retention all the time on our job sites in Utah. I'm very familiar with this one. But there's some other, this bigger one that's an octagon shape I haven't done before. So tell me the difference between these two.
So they both do the same thing.
Okay.
But the larger one, that's a 2-inch diameter, as you said, octagonal shape. It's actually a trademarked shape.
Okay.
And it's much stronger than just regular pipe.
Yes.
So that is our most robust system, and it's available. Robust is the word nowadays. You know, that's what everybody likes to say.
Yeah.
So that's available in a 1 or 2 bar system.
Okay.
We're seeing the 2 bar system here, but it's also available in 1. So it has greater spanning capability.
Yes.
So for insulated metal panels, which are typically 42 inches from seam to seam, that's the system.
That's the one you want to use.
This one is just a 2-pipe system. They're 1-inch diameter pipes. People tend to think 2 is better than 1.
Yeah.
And bigger is better than smaller.
Very
so
true.
We offer a spectrum.
Yeah. We use these a lot. These are really great. But there is some stuff over here. We've got some solar panel displays. Why don't we walk over and you can show me what we have on our second display?
Sure.
All right. This system looks a little bit different. Over there we had our standing seam roof, and they were attaching, kind of clipping to those ridges. Over here, walk me through what we've got.
So over there we were on a standing seam. So we use clamping technology to the seam with no penetration, because penetrating a standing seam is taboo.
Yes.
This is a face attached roof, through fastened or face fastened. Some people call this particular profile R panel.
Okay.
This roof is face attached, so it has exposed fastenings. It's not taboo to match the technology that's in this roof with something we're attaching to it.
Yes.
That's in fact the only way we can do it.
Yes.
And so we utilize specially designed components. They're all factory applied sealants. So every time we're going to penetrate a roof surface like this, that penetration is always double or triple waterproof. And so we use factory applied butyl copolymer when we're attaching in the low.
Okay.
And we use EPDM pads when we're attaching in the rib.
I know you have a piece of this over here that's got some of the butyl on it. So this actually comes with the tape on it.
Right. So all you have to do is peel the paper and lay it in place and fasten it down. So this is actually a triple seal.
Okay.
Because the butyl seals around each hole in that part. That washer seals from the top. That's an EPDM washer on the underside of that screw. The third seal is that when that screw is threaded into that butyl and driven into the roof, you can see what happens.
Yep.
The butyl collects around the threads of the screw.
And coats it.
And coats the threads of the screw. So that's the triple seal of this particular component.
You guys, if you use snow retention, snow fence, if you do metal roofs with solar, you got to check out S5. They do a lot of great clips. This is stuff that we've been using for years. Rob, thank you so much for having me today.
Thanks for using our product, Stephanie.
All
we can
the
always
time.
make more.
We can do that. Let's go check out what else we can find here at IRE.
All right, y'all, coming to you from the EuroShield booth, which they claim is the world's only hail-proof roofing. Pretty interesting, but they've got Matt over here who has this contraption that will shoot hail balls at like 200 miles an hour. We're about to test an asphalt shingle, but I thought it was kind of interesting. He pre-tested or did a bunch of tests at the show, and he got some clay tile roofing material. That happens to be from Ludovici. My buddy Brent Hall really likes them. They make some gorgeous roof products. And you think of clay tile as being real brittle, right? Like we got to really watch the hail coming down on that. Matt was saying he shot 250 mile an hour ice bullets at that thing yesterday. And it took 10 tries at 200 and some miles an hour. Like Matt, I think Matt's words were, it's more like a meteor than a hailstorm before it finally cracked. Now we should be able to get this asphalt shingle to go much quicker. In general, asphalt shingles, I've tended to shy away from them. In Texas, it's one of the reasons why I really like metal, because we get a lot of hail coming through. And when the hail comes through, everybody replaces their asphalt shingle. So we're gonna see what the machine looks like. Matt's getting fired up right now.
My name's Matt Mulholland. This is the hail cannon that we've designed in order to prove that certain materials will get damaged by hail. And insurance companies tend to say that they won't, or that isn't hail damage. So we've built this to show that there is a lot of inaccuracies that are taught by engineering firms in the insurance industry.
Interesting.
I have a YouTube channel called Listen to This Bull that goes a little bit further into that.
Cool.
But I also own a school called the Building Experts Institute. We've been able to actually publish peer-reviewed papers with the ASE Journal using this that proves that 3/4 inch hail causes functional damage to asphalt shingles. Now at the shows like this, we just have a lot of fun with it. So I've got a 1.5 inch ice ball I'm going to throw in the cannon right now.
Cool.
We're going to blast this thing as hard as we can.
So there's his ice ball right there. He's firing up the pressure.
This is going to be roughly 250 to 270. It's honestly so fast that I can't even track how fast that is. 3, 2, 1.
Woo! That is awesome.
So that's something that happens in real life. You see how it's compressed and spread out a little bit?
Yep.
When laboratory tests are done in this industry by engineering firms, they use solid spheres of ice that don't have any air inside them. That means it won't compress like that. It'll just break apart.
Oh, wow.
Because it does this in real life, because there's air particles in real hail, we have a different damage profile in real life than we do in the laboratory tests. So when
interesting.
they use those laboratory research papers to identify what is or isn't hail, they're honestly BSing all of us, and they're denying claims inappropriately.
Interesting.
So this is...
And is there much damage underneath there?
There's going to be a lot of granule loss.
Got it.
And once we clean the wound, we'd be able to see a lot more of it. So this is a brand new shingle. I hit the thickest part on the edge, but you can see that there are butt chips that are created.
Oh, yeah.
Now, normally these kind of chips are ignored as being footfall damage, but that's the majority of hail-caused damage.
Fabulous, Matt. Very interesting to show.
There's a lot of different hits that are on.
And here's some other hits from yesterday, right? So that's what I think of when I think of hail damage right there. And that shingles weakens, so the idea would be if we had that damage, we'd actually could get a leak out of that in the future, right? And that shingle is going to continue to degrade at a much higher rate.
We could even put light behind it and see light bleed through it.
Oh yeah,
which means water is going to get through that.
Yeah, if light's bleeding through, then water's coming through there too. Fabulous, Matt. Thanks for the Canon. Give us a quick 411 on EuroShield. What is this product?
I don't represent EuroShield, but it is a rubber roof, and they have a hail-proof version that really is hail-proof. It's legitimately a strong material. I fully endorse the thing. It's even got a French cleat-like locking system for wind resistance. They don't rely on glue that eventually will degrade. This thing is strong.
And so if we put a EuroShield on there, what would happen to it?
Nothing. It'd be very boring for your camera.
Is that right?
We can do it.
That's awesome.
I'll show you the one we shot yesterday 5 times in the same spot.
Let's do it. All right, so this one got hit.
Roughly here.
Wow.
We're on hit 7. Same speed, same ice.
And nothing.
You know what happens? If I have the asphalt shingles below it, the asphalt gets damaged.
Beneath that, as if it was underlayment.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. We're at the EuroShield booth at the International Roofing Expo 2025. Interesting to see Huber here at the International Roof Expo. I talked to my Huber friends, and they were telling me, a lot of roofers that are here at the show, maybe that are used to doing re-roofs, not new construction, were confused by this right here. And they were saying, oh, if I'm redecking the house, do I need to deck the house with plywood, something smooth, and then go over top of that with a zip sheathing? And they didn't realize, no, this is a structural panel. If you don't know this already, this is probably a review for some of you, but the brown is a slightly thicker panel than the green. I think if I'm technically accurate, the green zip system is like a 7/16. This is a true 1/2 inch. But once you put your decking down, if it's this brown panel that they're showing here, look, we tape the seams or the panels come together, and now I have a sealed roof deck. I could go right over top of this. Let's say if I was re-roofing a house and re-putting asphalt shingles, put my asphalt shingles right down on top of this. This is really nice because this tape that's on here and the brown, which is a waterproof facer, works in combination together to form the underlayment. I don't have to put another underlayment on top of that. And with Zip System, I've got a built-in sealed roof deck. If you've seen any of our videos about the Fortified roof system, it's a system that basically says, look, if the shingles got blown off for whatever reason, we have a big windstorm, the shingles blow off, any water that's running down here now in this sealed roof deck is not gonna run in at this panel seam right here. So if this was untaped and I had a, let's call it a tar paper that blew off, I could get a ton of water in this seam. But by taping this seam down, now I've got a seam that if whatever happened, the shingles blew off, I'm not gonna take on that massive amount of water. So it's interesting to see Huber here, and I wanna see more and more people, especially on re-roofs, if they're gonna redeck it with the Zip System. This is really cool, and you might automatically, by doing that, meet the Fortified Roof Silver standards, which could actually give you a discount on your homeowner's insurance. So always fun to catch up with my friends at Huber. Stephanie, Tesla, pretty cool, isn't it?
So happy we found this booth.
So I've been to a job site before. I shot a video on this with a builder friend of mine in Austin, but they've made some changes, and you actually have a job that this is spec'd on, right?
I do. We're speccing the Tesla solar shingles.
On the altitude adjustment job?
On altitude adjustment.
Ooh, that's going to be a cool series. If you don't know, stay tuned for that. Cool series. Very cool house she's building.
Yep.
Let's give these guys the basics. When you look at their panels, one of the things that you mentioned to me before we got here was that I like Tesla because you don't have this weird solar and then a regular roof around it. You can almost kind of see that up here. They're showing that like, here's someone else's PV on an asphalt roof.
Yep.
When you get their system, everything looks similar, right?
Yeah, so they have like the solar shingles, which you're seeing right here,
Yep.
and then they have metal blanks, which is what this is.
Yep.
So you can do the entire roof in this system and not see the solar panels, or even like some other brands have solar shingles, but they don't have matching blanks.
Right.
So what we loved about this, and it was perfect for the HOA, was because we had this consistency.
Right.
The whole roof looked the same.
You know, what's interesting about it is I look at the big display on there. It's almost a weird, is it a tile roof? Is it a metal roof? It's kind of hard to tell from the ground.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's really from this distance, and it's not a tall roof pitch right here, but from this distance, it's really hard to tell what's what between an active panel and just a blank metal. And as you get up close, you can see it, you can touch it and feel it. This feels to be like a 24 gauge, let's say, metal tile.
Yep.
And then this is your active solar panel right there.
Yeah, this is really cool stuff.
I also really like this. Look, we got some good building science here. The roof is actively above.
Yep.
We have an air gap behind there.
Yep.
So we've got good drainage and drying. So this doesn't need to be a 1000% waterproof roof. Water leaks back here. It's got a nice air path and channel to get out, which gives them room for these too, right?
Yeah, I really love the clips that Tesla's come up with. This is holding all their wires nice, tight, clean. So it's not just thrown together. There's not a bunch of wiring loose around and behind all these panels. They've really put it together so it's neat and nice and well done.
Yeah, whether you like the Cybertruck or not, or their cars, they do pay attention to aesthetics. Other manufacturers that are making solar roofs need to take a cue from this and try and figure out how to make non-active panels look like active panels, to your point. I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
Now behind us too, they've got the Powerwall 3. That's new from them, I think, as of last year.
Yep.
Double the capacity than previous panels. So if you've got a smaller house, you might be able to get away with just one of those to do some battery backup. I suspect bigger houses like you're building are going to get multiples of those probably.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for us to have 3 or 4 of those batteries in a garage on a house.
Yeah, I could see that. And then it sounds like fairly new is this gateway that's on the wall back there. That's kind of like an automatic transfer switch where it's saying, hey, the main power's out. Let's go ahead and get our battery backup.
Yep.
And you actually often do more than just battery backup though, right?
Yeah, we often do a third option. And so if we have the solar that's not working, say snow or wildfire, batteries run out of battery, we put something in third priority, and it's usually a propane backup generator.
All right.
So something really cool Tesla just did is they now allow you to tie in that backup generator. That used to be something that they kind of didn't allow a few years back. So they've made that work now where you can tie in like a backup generator to recharge your batteries.
And the rep was telling us it would go basically shore power, you know, the utility first, then the Tesla system, then the propane in that order, which is kind of interesting because, you know, you think about a big house, especially you in the snow country, if you have a foot of snow in your roof, we're not making power until that snow gets melted. And that could easily be a week in your climate, especially with a house you're building that's at, what, 8,000 feet of elevation.
Easy, yeah.
So really smart to have multiples of backup.
Yeah, this has been really cool. Loved stopping by this booth, and I'm happy to see this roof in person.
Yeah, this is cool. As a random side note, I think it was interesting. We asked them if we could film here, and they said, oh, no, you can't film here. And then I said, well, what if we film? They're like, oh, you can film. We just can't have you have anyone from Tesla on camera. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. None of the Tesla people wanted to be quoted saying something wrong or slightly imperfect. They could deny all day long if we said something that was outright lies or untrue. But really fun to come check out the Tesla booth here at the International Roofing Expo 2025. Hey guys, we're at the USG booth. Let me introduce you to Tiffany, who's the product manager for SecureRock brand roof underlayments. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Show me this display you got. What are you telling people about this?
Yeah, this is our puncture kit. This explains why you need a cover board in your low slope roof assembly. So here's a typical low cost roof assembly insulation.
Yeah, some kind of polyiso, right?
Yep,
Which you could penetrate.
You could, yeah. And then you've got a roof membrane that goes over it.
Okay, so let's call this TPO or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
And a lot of times this gets right on top of the insulation.
Yep.
Now what's the problem
we see
with
that every day. Problem is you have dropping tools, you have hail, you have all sorts of things that are hitting the top of the roof. So what happens?
Oh, I like it. We can take our aggression out on this display.
Goes right through.
Look at that. So it goes through and makes a puncture not only in the membrane, but I should say not only the insulation, which is no big deal, but it's able to penetrate the membrane.
Yeah, well, even damaging the insulation will lead to future damage, lead to, lost performance of the insulation. And this is one of your most expensive components in an assembly.
Yeah,
so
great point.
You want to make sure you protect this and the membrane so water doesn't get in and damage things.
And so instead, now what do we do?
Yep. Instead, you put a cover board. This is our gypsum fiber, one-of-a-kind technology that nobody else has. When you put this on here, you can see.
So this is a competitor's product right here.
This is a high-density insulation. So this side is a competitive product.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can try that side first.
Yes,
Still
look at
goes
you.
right through there.
Oh my gosh, look at that. So now we've punctured the membrane, we've also punctured the insulation, but now if we have that half-inch secure rock under there,
now here's that half-inch secure rock, stops it, just a dent in the membrane.
How about that? So here you can see, if you can zoom in, we've dented the membrane, but we don't have a hole like we had on this demonstration here, which is a problem.
Yep.
We're gonna get a leak out of that. And this is in several different sizes and thicknesses too, right?
Yep, we sell this particular product 4x4 and 4x8. It's good for mechanically attached or adhered systems and is available 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, and 5/8 thick.
And out of curiosity, why would we use 1/4 versus 5/8? Wouldn't we always want that beefy 5/8? Or are there other times that a 1/4 is okay?
Yeah, there are times that 1/4 is okay. I mean, sometimes it's a lot easier to install, of course, because it's thinner, still provides a lot of the benefits. Our 3/8 product at the thinner thickness still provides the benefits of most half-inch cover boards. So you're paying less for it, you're lifting less.
Yeah, makes sense. But if you really need that beef, you got the 5/8 as well.
Yeah, 5/8.
This is the USG booth here at the International Roofing Expo 2025. Okay, y'all, let me introduce you to my old buddy, Mark. Mark is the inventor of shark skin. This is a fabulous product. I've used it on my house and a lot of clients' houses. But you got something new, Mark, that you're launching here at the show, a fire retardant version.
It's an FR product for under metal roofing. And we're also looking at the overall building envelope. It's more than just roofing.
Ooh, so how does it get fire resistance?
It's actually a proprietary intumescent coating, unlike what's in the market traditionally today, which is asphalt based. So we're no asphalt.
Okay, I like that.
We still have the same adhesive technology.
So it's an acrylic adhesive probably, right?
It's a synthetic butyl adhesive.
Oh, okay.
Same as what we have on our SA product.
Okay, gotcha.
But now the top substrate is a fiberglass that's coated with an expandable graphite.
Whoa.
So what that does is it expands and it chars. Like you stick a piece of wood in the fireplace, next day you try to light it on fire and it won't burn because of that char.
Similar to the FirePoint product that I'm going to be talking about at IBS, which is interesting, also uses intumescent technology. So is this vapor open? Is it vapor closed?
It's going to, because it's adhered rating, it's going to be a vapor barrier.
Okay.
The goal here is fire. We're not as concerned about breathable,
right,
you know.
Right.
And so we're looking at the overall building envelope because based on the fires that happened in Palisades and in Altadena, and I'm in California, I'm 45 minutes from there. The overall building envelope, it wasn't just that they might have had a tile roof on the house. The fire burned up to the side of the house and then got in that way.
So in other words, we could use this as a wall self-adhered house wrap, basically, as well as a roof underlayment, right?
Actually, and then we're actually going to have a self-adhered as well as a mechanically fastened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, this is cool stuff. Not on the market yet, coming soon.
We hope to have a launch this year for sure.
Okay, so in the meantime though, people should get a hold of your website. What's the website?
www.sharkskinroof.com. We don't have it on the website yet, but it's coming.
This is a really cool company. Mark, thanks for giving me the scoop on the brand new product.
First time. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for all you do.
From the Sharkskin booth here at the International Roofing Expo. All right, guys, we're at the fluidappliedroofing.com booth. I've got Doug. Doug, I've put a lot of TPO roofs down over my career. I've been building custom homes for 20 years now, and I'm always worried about lifespan. You know, I kind of think of a TPO as a 20-year roof or so, and until recently, I didn't know that there was coatings you could put on them. I thought we had to rip that whole roof off and put a new one on. Tell me about your product.
Not the case. So yeah, TPO usually lasts about 12 to 15 years before the top layer is damaged by the UV. There really is only about 14 mils of product on the TPO before it hits the scrim. And then once that happens, the TPO can absorb moisture into the ISO. And then once that ISO is wet, you have to tear out the TPO.
Yeah, we're in trouble at that point.
And you got to put new ISO down.
Right.
But there are options for that as far as repair-wise. We have a fiber seal base coat here that's fabric infused that actually we spray over the seams about 4 inches to bridge that seam to be able to flex and move with the system. And then we put our top coat on there. That's what takes the UV damage. So it's funny because after 10, 15, or 20 years, the top coat wears, we rewash it, reapply a top coat again for another 15, 20-year warranty.
Oh, wow. And what's the chemistry on that white top coat that we're seeing
So that's
here?
a polyacrylic hybrid.
Okay, so acrylic meaning water-based.
Yes.
So there is some amount of UV damage if it's an acrylic product, right?
Yes, yes. So acrylics have a little higher UV damage wear per year. A polyacrylic has less because it's a hybrid polyurethane product. So a little bit more durable, holds up to ponding water a lot better than acrylics. But silicone has the lowest burn rate, and it's more for a ponding application if you have a lot of low spots in your area.
So what's interesting about this company, as somebody who's not a roofer, right? I walk in here as a builder thinking I've done metal roofs, I've done asphalt roofs, I've done TPO, I've done a little bit of EPDM. You guys are showing almost each one of those substrates. TPO, here's an EPM display, here's a metal roof display, and they got this fabulous video going that's showing you guys doing this on metal. You've got, it looks like some type of rust preventer, right? So the red is a primer to make sure that if my metal roof had some rust or that it doesn't develop rust. Then you've got that blue coat, which is the fibrous one. Then you've got the white coat, which is my final, also very reflective coat. And you can even do this on asphalt shingles, is that right?
So not house shingles, but a modified roof.
Okay,
shingles
right.
Move
This modified
yes.
bitumen.
So we do a BUR.
So like a rolled roofing.
Correct, and also BUR applications. So any asphalt-based product that will work on.
Now, is the acrylic the only option, or are there other top coat options?
So we have a silicone. There are urethane options as well.
Is that what we're seeing over here? Let's walk over and see the silicone. So one of the things, as a builder, I kind of know about silicone, but please correct me. I think of silicone as a product that isn't harmed by UV rays.
No,
is that true?
Yes, it does not wear to UV damage like an acrylic or a polyacrylic does.
So really, from an outsider watching the video, they really can't tell the difference between the
samples. It's very slick. One thing about silicones, it's very slippery when wet. So on flat roofs, try to do like an aggregate walk pad of some sort. We do not really typically like to silicone metal roofs because they have slope.
All right.
We don't want people
to slide off the roof.
But silicone has its place in the industry. It's a low burn rating, and
now what about builders or homeowners that have some ponding on the roof?
We would use a silicone or a urethane product.
Okay, because the acrylic might break down without water.
It does. Over time, it will because it's a water-based product.
Got it. Whereas the silicone is going to be able to
it's a solvent-based
product.
That. Yes.
Last question: are you guys kind of distributed nationally? Can we get on your website and find roofers that could help us as builders with that?
Yeah, so we have about 150 or so, 200 certified contractors nationally. So what I do for my contractors is, say somebody comes in with a building owner, says, hey, I've got a building over in California, I've got an installer that can help with that area.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we only have certified contractors that we select to do your projects for you.
Doug, super interesting.
Awesome.
Thanks for the info.
Nice to meet you. Yes, sir.
I got to tell you, this was really fun for me as a builder because I've built all these houses over the years, and I wonder, like, what's going to happen to that roof? So it was really fun to talk to Doug here. We'll put a link to their website below if you're interested in them. And as a side note, there are other companies that make similar products to this, but it was really fun to talk to these guys. So do your research and find somebody that's familiar. Whatever system you end up using, you want somebody that's trained, that really understands the system, that you really get clean. We didn't even talk about that with Doug, but you know, you don't want to just go over mold and other garbage on the roof. Like, we need somebody who's really going to make sure that substrate is ready for these products. But fabulous to see that we can extend the life on a roof. Super interesting here at the International Roof Expo 2025.
All right, before we go, you guys got to see this.
Check this out right here. You know the slant back 750s that everybody's adopted in the roofing industry?
Yep.
You can't do that because you'd have to just throw it away in the dump trailer.
You can't do this either.
But whoa, what are we doing, man?
Am I going to break this?
I think you're
good.
All right.
You're good.
This is actually a balancing act to see if I can break my leg before the show ends.
I don't think you should do that, but these things are.
We believe so much in our product. You know, you always have people stand behind their product. Well, we stand on our product at the Roof event. So it doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to break this vent. All I have to do is simply pick it back up, snap it back in there, and you're good to go and ready to install it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, I appreciate you.
All right, Stephanie, how about we close out the video? How's the show been for you?
This has been a great show. I would absolutely come back here again.
I couldn't believe how crowded it was. They told me it was a record crowd, like 18,000 people came to the show. They sold 20,000 square feet of booth space. The company that puts this on is called Informa, that also partners with us on Build Show Live. They're the people behind the scenes on JLC Live, World of Concrete, International Roofing Expo. This is a really cool company, and they did a great job on the show.
They did.
We're ending up the show here at the Atlas booth. I've used a lot of Atlas products over the years, including on the exterior of my house. But Stephanie, here's something interesting. Well, actually, let me back up a second. This foam you're seeing here, you've probably seen this before.
Yep.
But for those of you who haven't, this is polyiso foam that has a facer on it that's different than the typical aluminum facer you might see in a wall. This is a fiberglass facer, so it makes it much more non-slip. This is what I used on the Reisinger build project. But here's something that I hadn't seen out of their catalog before. They call it cross vent. You're seeing foam that's bonded to this EPS foam, which makes it crush resistant.
Yeah.
And so this is cross ventilation. That's kind of neat. I didn't realize that they made this product.
And I guess it comes all glued together to get it up on the roof,
That's
but
right.
you still have to use fasteners to keep it all together.
That's right. If you can picture a big 4x8 panel, you'd still screw that down into the roof. Great sample too. If my eyes weren't old enough, I could probably tell you all the composite thicknesses. I can't read those. I'm way too old for that, Stephanie.
2.5 through 6.5.
All right, there you go. Stephanie's got it. Guys from the International Roofing Expo, thanks for joining us. If you're not currently watching Stephanie's videos over on thebuildshow.com, I'll have a link to Stephanie. She's been with us for 3 years now? 2 years?
Almost, yeah.
Almost 3 years now. She's shooting fabulous videos from her job sites in Utah, and she's got this really cool new project called Altitude Adjustment. It's a big Build Show fan nerd homeowner who's doing some super cool stuff. So stay tuned for her brand new series. And in the meantime, you can go check her out on Instagram at Stephanie Builds It. In the meantime, though, will you close out the video?
Absolutely.
Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.